So I just came back from church, literally just like a few minutes ago. And I'm a Christian, so I go to church on Sundays. Go and give your life to Christ. So today the pastor preached about many things, but one thing in particular that actually stood out to me was he was talking about imagination, faith. If you are someone that reads the Bible, if you are like a Christian and everything, faith is actually very powerful. And he said a story that I can't really remember what the story was about, but I think a woman wanted to give birth or something and she couldn't give birth, so she like believed like for over 8 years or something like that. She kept believing, and eventually it happened. But I know this sounds like woo, believe in yourself, or whatever. But if you actually settle down to think about it, it's actually very, very important. The mind is extremely powerful. I'm going to the book I'm currently listening to now as an audio book is Psycho Cybernetics. I've read this before, and if maybe you don't like theory, like you don't like again all this woo woo believe in yourself, have faith, all those type of stuff. Psycho Cybernetics like explains it in a more scientific way, so it makes more sense to like rational people rather than just imaginative people. But this I'm just trying to say is like imagination is extremely important. Like your mind is crazy powerful, and it's just very surprising that as crazy as our mind is, as crazy as our imagination is, as crazy as like your thoughts and everything now, we just don't really use them. Like, how many times do you actually sit down to consciously sit down and think of your future? How many times do you actually sit down to imagine the kind of future you want? Maybe you want to get a dream job, or you want to start making $10,000 per month or something. How many times do you actually sit down to visualize what that future actually looks like? I'm not going to like me personally is like is until I started reading Psycho Cybernetics, I started trying to do it consistently. It is that we don't really use our mind, we don't really use our brain. And if you read any book regarding like money, success and everything, you usually see that they always put belief and imagination and all these things. Yeah, they always make it very important. Think and Grow Rich, belief is something that is like very important there. I've not read this book, but the magic of thinking big. But just from the title of that book alone, the magic of thinking big, like it's almost like your thoughts and your beliefs and your imagination and everything is like almost like 70% of the equation. Then 30% is like the tactics and everything you have to do to actually get there. So the question I just like, why don't we just believe in ourselves? Yeah, I remember now. So in church, when the pastor was preaching, he mentioned this part in the Bible. I can't remember the exact like passage and everything. I'm not that in tune with the Bible, but the part in the Bible was some part in Genesis where people were building a tower to like a tower that was going to reach heaven or something like that. Then God came down from heaven and saw men building this tower. Whether you believe it or not, whatever like is in the Bible. So like I'm not here to debate against that. The point I'm trying to make is these men, like human beings, were building this tower that was supposed to, extend from the earth and reach into the heavens, so they could like go to heaven and come down whenever they want. So God came down and saw them building this giant tower. And you know what was crazy? God didn't really like acknowledge that I can't stop them. Like I literally can't like stop them. Like because they have imagined it in their mind, they are going to do this thing. Like imagine how crazy that is. Like God Himself literally was like, I can't stop these people. Like they have a very strong vision. They have imagined this thing in their mind. If you think I'm lying, I don't know the exact place. I think it's Genesis 30 something, like thereabouts. Do your research, you will find the place. Like God was literally like, I can't stop. So the only thing, like instead of God to like destroy everything and stuff, the only thing He just did was like change everybody's language. So since everybody wasn't speaking the same language again, they couldn't continue the project. So the point I'm trying to make is, imagine that like God Himself couldn't even stop a man that has imagined something very powerful, like imagined it and made it clear in his mind that this is what I am going to do and nothing is going to stop me. Like this is the goal, this is the target, we are going to hit it. And it just like, I just sat down to think that why don't the majority of us just imagine more? Like why don't we just think more? Why don't we just say more positive things in our brains ourselves? Why don't we just keep more positive pictures in our head? Because many of us, we just live our day randomly. You just sit around and your brain will start thinking of random things, thinking of the food you ate yesterday, thinking of the thing one of your friends said to you 2 weeks ago, thinking of your secondary school, thinking of, oh, like I'll have to go back to class tomorrow. They're just thinking of random. Your brain just thinks of very random things. And the time your brain manage to think about your goals or something is usually going to be negative. You know, oh, I don't have enough money, I don't have time, I'm never going to get there, I'm not good enough, this. Like, why is it that our own brain that is so powerful, it doesn't even think good for us? So I think the point I'm just trying to make is like we have to start trying to think about our future more. Like, if you want to be rich, for example, you want to build a business and grow, you want to graduate with a very high class degree, you want to get a dream job, you want to do this, like, actually sit down and start to put the thoughts in your brain and try to make it as clear and as vivid as possible. So many of us, we don't do this. We just we just live, and your brain just keeps thinking of random things that are not really helping you. One thing I'm starting to realize is like you literally own yourself. Like, you can control your body. You can literally think of what you want to think about. But one thing I would just say, or two things I would say, is first of all, I know many people come and say, oh, belief is not everything, you have to put in the work. Like, of course, like, don't be an idiot, you're going to put in the work, obviously. But belief is like I said, it's maybe something like 70% of the equation. Like, you can believe something and actually see it vividly and everything, like, sooner or later you're more likely to achieve that thing. So make sure you put in the work and everything. And the second thing is, like, many times, for example, I'll sit down to try to visualize, the future, how I want this channel to go, how I want my life to look 5 years from now, and all those things. I know, like, 30 seconds in, 1 minute in of thinking about it, you will just start thinking of some other random thoughts. So I think, like, sometimes it can get annoying. Maybe your plan is to visualize for 10 minutes, about your clear future you want. And, 30 seconds in, you're already thinking about 2 years ago when one girl said something to you. So I think the way to overcome that is through mindfulness, and that's just like meditation, basically. So I think the more you meditate, the better you become at focusing on, thinking clearer and everything. So just start meditating more. Like, I'm still new to all this. Like I said, I'm still developing. I'm not like a pro by any means. But I think imagination is something we should really start, like, doing more. Like, why don't we just think about the future once? It doesn't cost you anything. Like, it's actually kind of fun. Like, I can just sit down and just think, like, what would I like want life to be? Like to have a nice car, yeah, and a lot of money, and like, you just have to piece your life together, and sometimes it's really fun and cool. I think it's something we should start doing a lot more often. It's something I'm definitely going to put a lot more effort into. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.